As I said at the top of the show, we're going to talk today about digital learning. North Carolina's public schools are moving quickly to take advantage of both improved internet connectivity and new technology to enhance learning. Joining us today are two key leaders in the effort to change North Carolina's learning and move into a more digital learning platform. With us first, we have Dr. Maria Pitre Martin. She is the Chief Academic and Digital Learning Officer at the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. And we have Dr. Jeni Korn. Jeni is the Director of Evaluation Programs for the Friday Institute for Educational Innovation. So thank you both for being on the show today. Let me start with a real basic question. I'll ask you first, Maria, since it's in your title, you're the Chief Digital Learning Officer. What is digital learning? What do we mean when we say that?
What we mean when we say digital learning is really about our students and our educators across the state using digital resources in teaching the North Carolina Standard Course of Study. We know that many of our educators across the state are currently using technology for assessments, for example, to be able to provide real-time data on assessments that can be used to inform instruction, very often on that same day or the very next day. We also know that much of the multimedia digital resources that students and teachers are using certainly makes instruction more engaging. So that is what digital teaching and learning is all about.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, Jeni, I know that you and the Friday Institute, where you work, has been a key partner with the state of North Carolina on digital learning. So, but how did North Carolina start down this path? I mean, we know about technology changes. I mean, we're all experiencing it ourselves, but sort of when did it become sort of the education thing?
So, going back to about 2000, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction published these impact guidelines. They were really the recommendations that the State Department were making for folks in the schools about how to implement in this new kind of age of digital learning. It all started with the No Child Left Behind Act at the federal level. There was some legislation around enhancing education through technology. So North Carolina did a great job of leveraging those federal dollars to kind of get things started. The lieutenant governor at the time, Lieutenant Governor's office, Governor Perdue, really did a lot of visionary thinking with the General Assembly. They established the E-Learning Commission to really make recommendations to our Joint Education Oversight Commission and the State Board of Education about thinking about kind of long-term planning. So they established and made recommendations around the School Connectivity Initiative, which was initially funded in 2007.
And that was really, that's about getting internet services to the schools, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
And the infrastructure within the school building itself.
Absolutely. So that's a question that, just like Maria was just talking about with digital resources and activities in the classroom, you can't do that unless you have a really strong infrastructure so that when the teachers and the students, and we've got 1.5 million kids in the state of North Carolina. We've got 2,600 schools, 100,000 educators. When all of those people are trying to access resources digitally, you have to make sure that your infrastructure is strong and set. And so I think the leadership at the state level really set that in motion, and right now we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the School Connectivity Initiative. The General Assembly also allocated funds in 2008 to set up a pilot study. It was a really unique opportunity for a public-private partnership between the Golden Leaf Foundation, the Department of Public Instruction, the Friday Institute, and they initially set it up in 8 pilot high schools across the state, and then it expanded to 18, and we learned a great deal about what worked, what didn't work, because of that initial funding we got from the state.
That's great, Maria. So we've done a lot
Yes.
since 2000. But where are we now? I mean, sort of, I guess, where are the gaps? I mean, clearly we're not at the, I guess, future state of where we want to be.
Certainly. So we know that currently a lot of our school districts and our charter schools are using a lot of technology tools. But we also know that we have something in the state called home base, where we have hundreds of thousands of our educators, the 1.5 million students across the state that are receiving access through a statewide home base system to use digital tools and get assessment items that are aligned to the standard course of study. But what we know in the future is that we see technology as a way for our students to engage with people across the world. You know, having a classroom of students be able to engage in a lesson with a historian at the Natural History Museum is huge for our students. And I think the next component is really working with our educators on the digital learning competencies. We know that our State Board of Education approved those in June of 2016. We know that our new state superintendent is really involved in innovation and digital learning. So what we would like to see in the future is media literacy, more of an awareness for our students. We know that many of our students are not always sure what is unbiased information on the internet, and I think that is an important next step for all of us to make that as a priority, not only for our educators, but our parents as well.
Those are all, that's a great point. So it sounds like to me, Jenny, we're moving from, again, making sure that it can actually work, you know, that we actually have the best uses of it. We're going to have a couple of educators on next who are going to talk about what they're doing in their school. But is that sort of what's next in terms of the digital transformation?
Absolutely. I think the goal, right, in the state of North Carolina, every child has a constitutional right to a sound basic education. And in 2017, that means a personalized education kind of facilitated by educators that have access to to high quality digital resources aligned to the standards, data and assessment so that they can make and personalize learning for every child, meet that child where they are. The way that you do that, right, is with really high quality assessments, data at your fingertips. So for me, and I think for many of the leaders in the state, digital tools, digital resources offers a way to modernize our education system in a way that has never happened before. It's a revolution, really, I think.
Right. Real quick, last comment from you, Maria, on sort of what's your hope as you move forward with this?
Definitely. I agree with Dr. Corn that we would love to see every single one of our students in the state of North Carolina using digital resources to enhance their learning. And then again, also using those digital resources to ensure that the world opens up for our students across the state of North Carolina. Virtual field trips, for example, are huge in connecting children to experiences that they would never have otherwise. So we are so excited about the possibility for digital teaching and learning in the state of North Carolina.
Well, lots of exciting things happening. I'm glad you guys came on today and told us about it, gave us a little bit of a background that was really helpful, and I hope you'll come back and see us and we'll talk some more about it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
But when we come back on the show, we're going to be joined by a principal and a teacher who are using technology in their school to change how we teach our children. But first, as we go to break, see if you can answer this question. True or false? There are more mobile internet users than desktop internet users.